One last thing that I forgot to mention is that I feel that Don Robertson should get a 10% royalty rate on a reissue because he has invested so much money in what the reissue companies would have to invest in anyway, having the reels cooked. He did all this work and he's very well organized. He knows what he's doing. He's an awesome person. And I think he deserves something after all these years. So hopefully there's a reissue company with a conscience out there. Peace. Hi there, this is the first video for The Great Unknown. It's a series based on albums that could use a first-time issue, or albums that were never released in full and need a reissue of the original deal. This first artist was a very pioneering artist in the late 60s. Influential, monumental in the Bosstown sound. Very freaking awesome artist. Very talented. Over the last years, he's been cooking reels of tons of lost sounds, and his album was never released in full. He was certainly a force to be reckoned with. He played tambura on the Lotus Palace album, Alan Lorber Orchestra. The artist played sitar on Tom Parrott's debut. He played sitar, tambura, and percussion on Bobby Calendar's debut. Guest musician on Harumi, I believe sitar. Session musician on Chameleon Church's album. Probably other albums too that he appeared on. His name is Don Robertson, and he created the most absolute, I think, brilliant album of all time. It's called Dawn, and it's a concept album based on harmonic and chaotic tones. It's beautiful, peaceful in the very first half of it, very positive. And then on the other side, it's completely disharmonic chaos. And at the same time, you have nature conflicting with sounds of society. There's philosophy, there is spiritual undertones and overtones. It's beautiful. It's ingenious, and the cover art is great. This has never had an actual legitimate reissue. Akarma reissued it some years ago, and it was not from the original master reels. It was from an album that Don sent the company, and the liner notes for that release are great, but it's not the real deal. And on top of that, when this album was recorded, like I said, it was one half positive, one half just complete second side, the heavy gates of sound unloaded. And he thought the heavy side something that would probably put Blue Cheer in a diaper bag, and I'm one of Blue Cheer's biggest fans, as you can see behind me. So it's about a 35-minute album. But anyway, to the 45-minute, 50-minute mark. He cut out, Don Robertson had like 10 or 12 minutes cut out of the heavy stuff because he thought it was too heavy. As he put it, the San Andreas Fault would fall into the ocean if it was released. So he cut that out, and all the people that heard it from the beginning to end said they liked the second part the best, and he cut most of that out. So it's never been released in full. Instead of a 35-long-minute LP, you'd have more of a 45, 50-minute LP, which would be really, really cool. On top of that, he has some seriously cool practice stuff where it's like 20-minute psych, surf, garage jams, epic proportions. He also has a lot of material that was for his second album that was never released. So anyway, I hope that this gets a proper reissue. It's due. It's totally due. People say that Don Robertson pioneered new age music with this album, and I think that's a total understatement. This is the purest form to a transcendent psychedelic album of all time. I mean, it's the purest form of a transcendent psychedelic album, and I think it's one of the most pioneering albums of all time. I mean, there's so much to say about this, but I don't want to bore anybody with my opinions. I just love it. It's a great bubble bath album. One of my favorite things to do in life is to take a long bubble bath, put a stack of LPs on a Frankenstein, one of those old councils, and just sit there, sip some tea, maybe some import libations, and just bathe away. This is a great album for it. Just lovely album. Anyway, listening to the first side.